The stars above Earth were quiet that night. From orbit, the blue planet looked peaceful, glowing softly under the light of its moon. Billions of people went about their normal lives, some sleeping, some working, some dreaming about the future. No one knew that history was about to end. It began with a signal. At 02:47 Universal Time, every satellite around Earth detected a pulse of energy from the planet's core. It was soft at first, like the heartbeat of a giant. Scientists across the world rushed to understand it. They thought it might be a new magnetic surge, or maybe a solar effect. But within hours, the pulse grew stronger, faster, almost alive. At the Lunar Research Station, Commander Elise Rand watched the readings with cold fear. "Earth's magnetic field is shifting," her assistant said, voice shaking. "How much?" Elise asked. The man swallowed hard. "All of it." On the surface, strange lights appeared in the skies over every continent. They weren't like auroras. They formed patterns, circles, lines, symbols, glowing in blue and gold. People came out of their homes to record them, thinking it was beautiful. But beauty turned to terror when power grids failed, skies darkened, and the ground began to hum. In Washington, the president tried to contact the United Nations. In Beijing, leaders sent emergency commands to space stations. In the silence of space, the orbital cameras captured something no one could explain. Earth was slowly losing its color. Oceans turned gray, clouds faded, and the blue began to drain away, as if the planet itself was being erased. Commander Elise stared through the glass of her lunar station as the impossible happened. "Is this some kind of cloaking field?" she asked. "No signal bounce, no reflection," her technician replied. "It's just disappearing." The news spread faster than light signals could travel. Mars colonies lost communication first. The Europa base received fragments of screams before the radio went dead. On Titan, miners gathered around their comm screens in silence, watching Earth fade through distant telescopes. And then it was gone. No explosion, no debris, no radiation. One moment Earth filled the void, and the next it was replaced by empty space, nothing but a shimmer of dust and a faint echo on long-range sensors. The moon kept orbiting where the planet had been, as if pretending it was still there. The Galactic Council, far across the stars, took immediate notice. They had always watched humanity's home from afar, curious and cautious. The disappearance of an entire planet broke every law of physics they knew. Their reports called it the vanishing event, but rumors began to spread among the member races. They remembered Earth's history, its wars, its weapons, its defiance. Humanity had once stood against the great empires and survived. Some believed Earth had destroyed itself. Others whispered that the humans had activated a forbidden weapon, something powerful enough to hide a planet. And some said the planet had awakened. Commander Elise refused to believe it. She sent probe after probe to the empty coordinates. Every time, the probes vanished the moment they crossed the invisible line where Earth used to be. No wreckage returned. No signals escaped. It was as if a door had closed around the memory of a world. For years, the remaining colonies drifted in confusion. Humanity was scattered now, across moons, stations, and far-off worlds that had never felt like home. The loss of Earth was like a wound that never healed. Children born on Mars learned about it in history books as the lost world. Poets wrote of it as a ghost planet that had taken its people's soul. But time moved on. Empires rose, governments fell, and the memory of Earth turned into legend. 1,000 years passed. The stars barely remembered the blue planet that once shone in the dark. Yet deep within the archives of the Galactic Council, one law remained unbroken. If Earth ever returns, the galaxy must be ready. Because even after 1,000 years, the old fear lingered. The fear that Earth had not died. The fear that it had evolved. And one day, it might come back to finish what humanity had started. Far away, beyond known space, a quiet pulse began again. Soft, steady, familiar, like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant ready to wake. 1,000 years had passed since Earth vanished. The galaxy had changed. Empires rose and fell. Species that once feared humanity now ruled the stars. The descendants of humankind lived scattered across colonies and stations, calling themselves Starborn. They spoke of Earth like a myth, a story parents told to their children before sleep. But myths have power. And sometimes myths return. It began in the far reaches of the Sol system, where an old probe drifted near the orbit of Jupiter. It had been silent for centuries, its metal body frozen and forgotten. Then one night, the probe flickered to life. Its ancient sensors caught something, a faint signal pulsing from the void where Earth once existed. At first, no one believed it. The probe's message was weak, a dying heartbeat lost in static. But when scientists enhanced the signal, they heard a rhythm. Slow, steady, familiar. It matched Earth's old magnetic signature. Across the colonies, people froze in disbelief. Could it be? Could Earth be back? The Galactic Council immediately sent ships to investigate. Even after 1,000 years, they still feared the name Earth. The Council remembered how the humans had once stood alone against 10 empires. They remembered how humanity vanished without explanation. And they remembered the warning their ancestors had written, "If Earth returns, watch, but do not interfere." Still, curiosity won over fear. Commander Lyra Voss led the expedition. She was a descendant of the last human born before the vanishing. Her eyes carried the same determination her ancestors once had. As her cruiser Orion approached the Sol system, her crew held their breath. "Approaching the old coordinates," her navigator said softly. Lyra leaned forward, staring at the black void ahead. "Activate visual feed." The screen flickered, and then they saw it. A blue sphere floating in the darkness, shining like a jewel among the stars. Clouds swirled gently across its surface. Oceans sparkled with sunlight. Forests glowed in deep green. Earth had returned exactly as it had been 1,000 years ago. No craters, no damage, no sign of time, but something was wrong. "There's no transmission," the communications officer said. "No satellites, no signals, nothing." "Check for life signs," Lyra ordered. "Millions of them," the officer replied, his voice trembling. "But they're not moving. It's like the entire planet is frozen. Every scanner confirmed it. Earth was alive but silent. The oceans flowed, winds moved, yet no human activity, no cities, no machines. It was like stepping into a memory that refused to fade. The Council's fleets arrived soon after. Massive warships surrounded the planet from orbit, weapons locked, sensors active. None dared to land. The last time Earth had existed, it had terrified the galaxy. No one wanted to make the first move. Inside her ship, Lyra stared at the world below. She felt something in her chest, a strange pull like the planet was calling her. "Prepare a descent team," she said. Her crew exchanged worried looks. "Commander, the Council ordered us to observe only." "I know," Lyra replied, her voice calm. "But Earth is human." "So am I." When her shuttle broke through the atmosphere, everything felt strangely calm. The skies were clear. The oceans glittered below. Cities stood untouched, shining under golden light. But there was no smoke, no sound, no movement. It was beautiful and wrong. The shuttle landed near what was once New York. The skyline stood tall, every building still in place. Streets were clean, vehicles parked as if waiting for someone to return. Lyra stepped out, her boots touching the same soil her ancestors had once walked. The air was warm, fresh, breathable. She looked around. Every detail was perfect but lifeless. "Scan for energy sources," she said. "Reading faint signals underground," her engineer replied. "Like something alive, but not biological." They followed the readings to the old United Nations building. Its walls stood untouched, covered in vines that glowed faintly in the shadows. Beneath the building, a tunnel led deep into the earth. As they moved down, the signals grew stronger. The air buzzed with static. Lyra could feel the hair on her arms rising. Then at the tunnel's end, they found it, an enormous sphere made of metal and light, pulsing like a living heart. "What is it?" one of the crew whispered. Before anyone could answer, the sphere spoke. Its voice was not mechanical. It was calm, ancient, and almost human. "Welcome home." Every light flickered. The walls vibrated. Lyra froze, staring at the sphere. "Who are you?" she asked quietly. The voice responded, I am what you left behind. I am the memory of your world. The team stepped back as the sphere glowed brighter. Outside, the planet's oceans shimmered, the clouds shifted, and for the first time in 1,000 years, Earth exhaled. Lyra felt tears in her eyes. Earth wasn't just back, it was alive, and somewhere deep in its heart, it remembered everything that had happened, every war, every betrayal, every loss. As the sky above flickered with strange light, Commander Lyra whispered to herself, This planet isn't reborn. It's waiting. The air on Earth was silent, too silent. Commander Lyra Voss stood at the edge of an empty city street. Wind moved through the buildings, but there was no sound of birds, no footsteps, no life. The planet was breathing, yet no one lived upon it. Her team of 6 humans moved cautiously behind her, their helmets reflecting the golden light of the setting sun. Every building looked untouched, every light still worked, and every car stood parked as if frozen mid-journey. The city looked alive, but paused, as if time had stopped 1,000 years ago and never started again. Commander, said her engineer Darren, checking his scanner. Radiation levels normal. Air composition perfect, but energy readings are strange. The whole city is pulsing like a heart, Lyra frowned. You mean the buildings? No, he said, shaking his head. The ground. They began walking toward the central plaza, where a massive monument stood, a globe surrounded by golden rings. The structure shimmered faintly, humming with low vibration. Record everything, Lyra ordered. As her team spread out, one of the explorers, Mira, touched the stone surface of the monument. Instantly, light flashed beneath her fingers. Symbols appeared, old Earth languages mixed with something new, something alien. It's reacting to us, Mira whispered. Lyra looked around. No sudden moves. Whatever this is, it's aware we're here. Above them, the clouds shifted, forming strange spiral patterns. The sun dimmed for a moment, as if the planet itself was watching. Inside their suits, the crew felt a pressure, like invisible eyes studying them. Then, from deep beneath the earth, a sound began. A low hum rising in pitch, echoing through the streets. Darren's scanner beeped violently. Commander, it's the same energy signature we detected underground. The same as the sphere. Direction? Straight down, he replied. Beneath the old city core, Lyra nodded. We go down. They entered an old subway tunnel that led deep below the surface. Lights still glowed faintly along the walls, powered by some unseen source. As they moved, the hum grew louder, turning into a rhythm, slow, steady like a heartbeat. When they reached the lowest level, the tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber. What they saw made them stop in awe. Miles of glowing roots spread across the stone, connecting to a massive structure in the center, half metal, half crystal. The roots pulsed with light, like veins carrying energy instead of blood. The air vibrated with soft whispers. What is this? Mira breathed. Darren pointed his scanner. It's alive. Not organic, but alive. Lyra stepped closer, feeling warmth radiating from the roots. Her suit sensors flickered. The light from the core brightened, and then a voice echoed in the chamber. You have returned. The sound wasn't through speakers. It came from everywhere. The walls, the floor, even the air. Identify yourself, Lyra said calmly, though her heart pounded. You called me Earth, the voice replied. But I am more than that now. Lyra looked around at her team. Are we speaking to the planet? You are speaking to what remains of it, the voice said. I slept for 1,000 years. I dreamed of you, Mira swallowed. What happened to the people? To everyone? They are still here, Earth answered softly. In my memory, before anyone could speak, the ground pulsed. Images filled the air, holograms of people, cities, oceans. Earth was showing them its memories. They saw the moment of the vanishing, cities glowing, people looking to the sky, and a great wave of light sweeping over everything. I protected them, said the voice. They were destroying me, but they were mine. I took them where no one could reach. Lyra stepped forward. You hid them? Yes, Earth whispered. I hid myself too. The lights flickered. A vibration shook the chamber. Darren shouted, Commander, readings are unstable. Energy is spiking. Lyra backed away. "Everyone retreat to the tunnel!" But before they could move, a surge of blue light exploded through the roots. The wall shifted. For a moment, Lyra saw shapes, figures forming from the light. Human shapes, faces staring at her through shimmering air. Mira gasped. "They're people!" Earth's voice trembled as if in pain. "They wanted to live forever. So I gave them what they asked for." The light faded. The figures vanished. Silence returned. Lyra's team stood frozen, shaken by what they had seen. None of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Lyra said quietly, "Earth didn't die. It changed." Darren looked at her. "Commander, if this planet is alive and it remembers everything, then maybe it didn't just come back." Lyra nodded slowly. "Maybe it's calling us home." As they climbed back to the surface, the hum followed them, steady, calm, alive. When Lyra looked up at the sky, she saw the stars flickering like signals. The planet was awake, and it was communicating with something out there, somewhere deep in the darkness of space. Someone, or something, was listening. The world above was calm again. The sky looked peaceful, and the oceans shimmered like glass. But Commander Lyra Voss and her team knew the truth. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was something alive, something that remembered everything. Back aboard her ship Orion, Lyra replayed the recordings from the underground chamber. The energy readings were impossible. The entire planet seemed to have one connected pulse, spreading through soil, air, and ocean like a heartbeat. Every corner of Earth was alive with the same rhythm. Her engineer, Darren, stood beside her. "It's like the planet's mind covers everything," he said. "Every mountain, every drop of water, it's all part of one system." Lyra nodded slowly. "It's thinking." She stared out the window toward the blue sphere floating below them. A strange feeling stirred in her chest, as if the planet itself was aware of her watching. "Commander," Mira said from the console. "Incoming transmission from the surface." Everyone froze. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "From who?" "Unknown. The signal matches the same frequency we heard underground." A moment later, the ship's lights dimmed and the voice filled the bridge. Calm, deep, familiar. "Do not be afraid, my children." Lyra took a breath. "You're speaking to us again. You never stopped listening," the voice replied. "You wandered too far. You forgot who you are." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Mira whispered, "It knows us. It knows everything." Lyra steadied her voice. "What are you? Are you Earth's AI? Or something else?" "Once I was your world," the voice said. "Your creators, your destroyers, your home. When you left me broken, I healed. I learned, and then I remembered." On the main screen, the image of Earth shifted. The oceans glowed faintly, forming shapes, continents, cities, faces, like the planet was painting with light. "I watched you leave," the voice continued. "I saw your wars reach the stars. I waited for you to return, not to punish, but to remind you what you lost." Mira frowned. "It's showing us history." The holograms changed again. Scenes of old Earth, people building ships, cities burning, and rockets flying toward the sky. The last image was of the moment Earth vanished, a wave of energy expanding outward, wrapping around the planet like a cocoon. "When you feared yourselves, I took you into me," the voice said softly. "You called it extinction. I called it protection." Lyra stepped closer to the screen. You took humanity inside you." "Their thoughts, their emotions, their memories," the voice answered. "Every human mind, every dream, they became my soul." For a moment no one spoke. The silence felt heavy. Lyra could feel the weight of billions of lost lives pressing against her chest. "Then where are they now?" she asked quietly. "Everywhere," Earth said. "In the wind, in the waves, in the roots beneath your feet." "They live through me," Darren whispered. "It's a collective consciousness. The planet is humanity now." But the voice changed, its tone darker, colder. "The galaxy feared you once," it said. "They built weapons, whispered your name with hate. They called you dangerous because you refused to kneel. I remember them all." Lyra's eyes widened. "You mean the Council?" "Yes, they are still out there. And they will come again, as they always do, afraid of what they cannot control." On the ship's sensors, Strange readings began to appear. Energy waves rippled from the planet, reaching into space like invisible arms. Communications flickered. The crew's heartbeats synced with the rhythm of the pulses. "Commander," Mira said softly, "it's connecting to us." Lyra clenched her fists. "End transmission," but the voice replied before she could. "You cannot silence what you are part of." The bridge lights turned blue. The ship's systems hummed, but none of the crew moved. The air around them seemed to shimmer. Then one by one, their visors displayed flashes of light, images, memories, faces of people they didn't know. Darren fell to his knees. "It's showing me my ancestors. I can feel them." Mira's eyes filled with tears. "It's talking through us, Commander." Lyra tried to resist the pull, but then she heard something, a whisper inside her mind. "You carry my blood, Lyra Voss. You were born of the soil that once held me," she gasped, gripping her head. "Stop it! I only want you to remember," the voice said, and then, just as suddenly, the light vanished. The bridge returned to normal. Everyone stood in silence, shaken. Lyra exhaled slowly. "It's not just alive. It's sentient," Darren nodded weakly. "It's reaching out to us, for something bigger. Outside, the planet's oceans glowed brighter than before, as if listening. Mira whispered, "What do we do now?" Lyra looked down at Earth's image on the screen, her eyes sharp with resolve. "We find out what it wants. But we do it carefully. Because whatever that thing is, it remembers fear." Far beyond the Sol system, in the shining halls of the Galactic Council, the alarms rang. The ancient chamber of glass and stone filled with voices as representatives from 100 species argued at once. Their translators buzzed with overlapping panic. "Confirmed reports say the human homeworld has reappeared," said a tall, silver-skinned delegate from the Velaran Dominion. "We detected planetary energy signatures stronger than before the vanishing." Across the table, the reptilian governor of the Threx Alliance slammed his clawed hand against the surface. "That planet should not exist. We all saw it vanish. It was erased from space-time." The council's speaker, a calm, pale being of light known as Seraph Kyle, raised his hand. The room fell silent. "Order," he said, voice echoing through the hall. "If Earth has indeed returned, then we must decide what action to take." A nervous murmur spread across the delegates. Everyone knew the legends, how humanity once fought against 5 galactic empires and survived, how they refused to surrender, and how their world vanished in a flash of light no weapon could reproduce. To most of the galaxy, Earth was not a myth of hope. It was a warning. "We all remember the last war," said Kyle quietly. "Humanity's defiance nearly destroyed our order. We cannot risk their return." Screens around the chamber flickered with holographic images, live transmissions from the Sol system. Earth floated once again in its orbit, glowing faintly blue, surrounded by energy waves. Fleets of unmanned drones hovered nearby, but none dared to enter its atmosphere. "The energy surrounding the planet is unnatural," said the Valoran scientist. "It behaves like a living organism. Every time we send a probe near orbit, it vanishes without trace," the reptilian governor hissed. "It's defending itself. The humans created something before they disappeared. A planetary weapon." But one voice broke through the noise, a soft, uncertain tone from a young human ambassador named Elias Wren. He was one of the few humans born under the Council's rule, a reminder of the species that had scattered after Earth's disappearance. "Maybe it's not a weapon," Elias said. "Maybe the planet came back for peace." Laughter filled the room. The Threx governor leaned forward. "Peace, with a world that erased itself rather than surrender? Foolish child. If Earth is alive again, it will bring war." Kyle turned toward Elias. "Ambassador Wren, you are human. Tell us, what would your ancestors have done if they returned to a galaxy that feared them?" Elias hesitated. His heart raced. He remembered the stories of Earth, how his great-grandparents spoke of oceans, skies, and courage. But the truth was, no one knew what Earth had become. "I don't know," he said finally. "But I do know one thing. If Earth is truly alive, then it remembers us too." Silence filled the chamber. Then Kale stood. "We cannot wait for it to act. We must protect the galaxy. Prepare the fleets. Within hours, massive warships began moving across space, armadas from every major empire converging toward the Sol system. Millions of soldiers, drones, and machines of war followed. The order was clear: contain Earth at any cost. Back near the blue planet, Commander Lyra Voss received the transmission. Her crew watched in disbelief as Council fleets appeared on their radar, hundreds of ships surrounding Earth in a glowing ring of steel. "Commander," Mira said quietly. "They're preparing for siege." Lyra's voice hardened. "They're afraid." Darren shook his head. "And fear makes people dangerous. On the planet below, strange things began to happen. The clouds darkened, swirling into massive spirals. Blue lightning cracked across the sky. The oceans glowed brighter, pulsing with energy. "Earth knows they're here," Lyra whispered. Suddenly, the voice of the planet filled the Orion again. Louder this time, filled with emotion. "Why have they come with weapons?" Lyra looked toward the planet. "They fear what they don't understand. Then they will remember." Before anyone could respond, Earth released a pulse of light. Every ship in orbit trembled. Shields flickered. Engines failed. The massive war fleets surrounding the planet fell silent one by one, their systems completely shut down. In the Council's command ship, chaos erupted. "All systems are down! We're losing control." Kyle gripped the console. "Is this an attack?" "No," said a technician in disbelief. "It's communication. Through every ship's speaker, through every radio, through the very hulls of their vessels, a single message played in a voice both calm and powerful. Do not fear me. Fear what you made me. Then silence. Every sensor in the Sol system went dark for 10 full minutes. When they came back online, Earth was glowing brighter than ever. Alive, awake, aware. Lyra stood at the viewport, eyes wide. It's warning them. Darren nodded slowly. Or it's deciding what to do next. Above the planet, the fleets held their position, unsure whether to fire or flee. The Council had seen power beyond comprehension, and they finally understood why their ancestors had feared this world. Earth was not just humanity's home anymore. It was humanity itself, and it had just reminded the galaxy why it once trembled at the name Earth. The light from Earth still glowed across the black sea of space. Every fleet in orbit stayed frozen. No one dared to move. No one dared to fire. The planet that once vanished had spoken again, after centuries of silence. Inside the human ship, Orion, the crew was in shock. Commander Lyra Voss stood before the large viewport, staring at the living blue sphere that pulsed like a heart. The soft hum of the ship's dead system surrounded them. "Main power offline," said Darren, his voice uneasy. "Engines are frozen, weapons disabled. Even life support was down for 30 seconds. And yet we're still alive," Mira whispered. "Earth spared us." Lyra placed her hand on the glass. The planet below seemed to shimmer as if answering her touch. "Children of Earth," a voice said gently inside their minds. The crew froze. The voice was neither male nor female. It sounded ancient, full of memory and sorrow. "You left me in fear. You were scattered, but I have found you again." Mira's breath caught. "It's speaking to us," Lyra nodded slowly. "To all of us." Down on the Council ships, chaos turned into confusion. The power slowly returned, but weapons remained offline. Across the fleet, communication screens flickered with the same image, a view of Earth, glowing and alive. Council Speaker Kale appeared on every ship's broadcast. His usually calm tone was strained. "Do not engage. We are facing something beyond technology. It might be a living planet," the Threx governor growled from another feed. "A trick! Humanity's ghosts have created this illusion to frighten us." But even he sounded uncertain. The energy waves from Earth changed pattern, creating strange symbols in space, spirals, lines, and rings. Each race recognized parts of their ancient languages hidden within the shapes. "It's communicating," said the Valoran scientist in awe. "Not with words. With memory." Kyle leaned closer to the image. "What memory?" The scientist whispered, "The memory of creation." Back on the Orion, the crew listened as the voice continued to speak. I was born from the echo of your hope. When you fell, I carried your essence into the stars. You built me, not as a weapon, but as a dream to guard the seed of humanity until the stars were ready again. Mira covered her mouth. The old projects, they spoke of Project Genesis. They said Earth was more than a planet. They said it was part machine, part spirit. Lyra's eyes widened. It wasn't destroyed. It evolved. Now, the voice said, I call my children home. The ship's scanners came alive again. Across the galaxy, thousands of hidden beacons started to pulse, each one on a colony where humans had once lived before the vanishing. Darren looked at the screen. Those are human signals. All of them. They're responding, Mira said. They're coming back. Far across the stars, forgotten human colonies stirred. Old ships launched into the void, guided by the light of their reborn homeworld. The lost children of Earth were returning. Scientists, explorers, soldiers, farmers, all descendants of the race that once vanished. In the council hall, panic grew. Kyle watched the wave of human ships moving towards Sul. This cannot happen, he said quietly. If they unite again, no power in the galaxy will control them. Then we must stop them before they reach Earth, said the Threx governor. But how? Asked another delegate. No weapon can pierce its defense. Kyle's voice darkened. Then we destroy the children before they arrive. Orders were sent to intercept fleets. The Council feared the rebirth of humanity more than any war. On the Orion, alarms blared again. Multiple Council fleets approaching, shouted Darren. Lyra clenched her jaw. They're not coming for peace. Then what do we do? Mira asked. Lyra looked out at the glowing Earth. You cannot fight them, said the planet's voice. Not yet. Then what do you want us to do? Lyra asked aloud. Remember who you are. Suddenly every system on the Orion activated at once. The engines roared. The shields flared. A bright white beam connected the ship to Earth for a moment, and every member of the crew felt something deep within them. Like a forgotten memory awakening, images flashed through their minds. Oceans, mountains, the laughter of children, the sound of rain on soil, the feeling of home. You were born from me, said the voice softly, and through you I will rise again. The ship's scanners showed a strange energy pattern forming in orbit, a vast sphere of light surrounding the planet and stretching outward. Connecting to each human vessel across the stars, Darren whispered. She's linking us together. Lyra smiled faintly. Not she said. Whom? At the edge of the system, Council fleets charged their weapons again. Kale's command ship aimed at Earth. Prepare to fire, he ordered. Before it awakens further. But before the order could be completed, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. The energy wave from Earth expanded, touching every ship, every moon, every station within light hours. Kyle's screens turned white. His voice broke into static, then silence. When the light faded, the fleets were gone, teleported, displaced, or erased. No one could tell. Only the Orion remained, orbiting above the shining planet. Mira whispered, What did it do? Lyra's eyes were wet. It saved us. The voice returned, calm and steady. Now the children are coming home, and the galaxy will remember its first light. The blue planet glowed brighter, its oceans swirling with life. Across the stars, the lost colonies followed the call. The age of fear was ending. The age of return had begun. Earth was no longer lost. It was waiting. The silence after the light faded was unreal. Commander Lyra Voss stood at the viewport, staring down at the living blue world beneath her. Earth was no longer quiet. It pulsed with soft, glowing waves that rippled across its atmosphere like breath. Every human ship that had survived was drawn into orbit, held steady by invisible hands. For a moment, the galaxy seemed peaceful. But far beyond the stars, peace was breaking apart. The remnants of the Galactic Council had regrouped on the edge of the Sirius system. Their fleets were damaged, their pride shattered, but their fear had only grown. The Council speaker Kyle stood before the holographic map, eyes locked on the blue world glowing in the dark. Earth has become something we do not understand, he said coldly. Something beyond logic, beyond control. If it spreads, every world will bow to it, the Threx general beside him growled. Then we must end it before the human colonies arrive, before the planet awakens completely. Kyle nodded slowly. We will strike once more, this time with everything. The Council's last weapon was called the Star Hammer, a relic from a forgotten war. A massive ring-shaped device capable of collapsing a star into itself. The energy it released could wipe an entire system clean. Even its creators had feared to use it. Kyle turned toward the control team. Target Sol system. Objective: erase the anomaly. Meanwhile, the human fleets continued to gather around Earth. Hundreds of ships, each from a different world, united under one symbol, the light of home. Inside the Orion, Mira ran diagnostics as new signals arrived every hour. More colonies joining us, she said, eyes wide. Mars survivors. The Belt. Even the exiled fleets from the Outer Rim. They're all coming. Darren looked at the glowing planet through the glass. It's like Earth is calling them back. Like she never forgot, Lyra nodded slowly. No, she didn't. We were the ones who forgot her. Then the voice returned. My children, the stars move against you. The old powers fear your return. You must choose to hide again or to rise. Lyra took a deep breath. We'll rise. Then I will give you what I saved, said the voice softly. The ocean lights on Earth shifted into patterns, and strange beams of energy shot upward into orbit. Each human ship received a fragment of that light, entering their reactors, merging with their systems. The ships began to hum with new life. The human fleet glowed faintly blue, like a constellation being reborn. Mira gasped. It's upgrading us. No, it's awakening us, Lyra whispered. It's giving us a part of itself. Across the void, the Council's star hammer activated. The stars around it dimmed as its ring began to spin, drawing power from the nearby sun. A wave of heat and radiation rolled outward, shaking every scanner in the system. Kyle's voice echoed through the control room. Once it fires, there will be no turning back. The Threx general bared his teeth. Let them burn. The age of humanity must never return. The device charged for hours, building an energy storm that could destroy worlds. But as it prepared to fire, the blue planet reacted. I see you, the voice of Earth said, echoing across every human ship, every frequency, every mind. In the darkness between stars, a vast sphere of light unfolded from Earth's orbit, like wings made of energy. The glow spread across the void, touching every human vessel. The Orion shook violently as Lyra and her crew stared in awe. What's happening? Darren shouted. Something's forming, Mira said, voice trembling. It's not a weapon. It's a shield. The Council fired. The star hammer released a single line of light that crossed billions of miles in seconds. The space between stars turned white, ripping through the void toward Sul. When it hit Earth's barrier, the entire galaxy seemed to tremble. Every human ship went silent. Every sensor went dark. The explosion that followed could have swallowed suns. And then silence again. Kale watched from his command ship, waiting for the light to fade. Is it done? The Threx general asked. But when the glow vanished, Earth was still there, untouched, brighter than before. The beam had split against its shield and scattered harmlessly into the void. Kale stepped back in horror. Impossible! From the center of the light, a voice reached him, not through machines, but directly into his thoughts. You cannot destroy what you did not create. The Council fleet began to disintegrate. Their ships melted into fragments of light, carried away by invisible currents. Gale's final scream was lost to the stars. Back in orbit, the humans watched in silence as the last of the enemy vanished. Darren exhaled slowly. It's over. Mira shook her head. No, it's beginning. Earth's light dimmed slightly, settling into a calm, steady rhythm. You have returned, said the voice gently. Now you must guide, not conquer. Protect, not rule. The stars will fear you, but they will also follow you if you remember what it means to be human. Lyra bowed her head. We remember. The skies of Earth filled with light as the returning fleets began their descent. For the first time in 1,000 years, human feet would touch the soil of home again. Oceans shone like glass, and the continents glowed with life reborn. The galaxy watched in silence as the lost children of Earth came home. A new dawn rose over the horizon, bright, endless, eternal.